from Los Angeles. This is Montserrat Radio. You're listening to Montserrat Radio.
In the spirit of the war against fake news, Montserrat Radio presents The Fake News Show, conspiracy news and a different point of view of current events. And now your hosts, Benny Wilson and Thomas Christian.
Good evening, and welcome to the Fake News Show. This is your host, Benny. I'm doing this broadcasting at 9:15 p.m. Pacific Time, late at night, on a Wednesday, Wednesday the 3rd, 2017, after I had a meeting with the elites. And finally, my chains are off. Now I can tell you what happened all these days. And now I can tell you because they released me from my chains. And if they release me from my chains, they also release other gurus. Other people that they know what's going on. So, let me just start with the news. And I'm going to tell you why the news are like this and what they are planning to do. And after that, you will know my intel. But before that, before everything, I publicly I need to apologize to some people publicly, because I got to a point that I was overwhelmed of the threats that I received. And they let me know why all those threats. They let me know why I was in such a bad situation. But nevertheless, I need to publicly apologize to some people, because for some reason, some way, without me even notice it, because I'm a human being, I offended them. And I offended them because I went in such a pressure that even the little most insignificant private message from Facebook, they will consider it as a violation of our agreement. And let me just tell you what happened. There has been probably 3 people, if I'm not mistaken, that I told me specifically. I even called them directly that I was gonna give a phone number for my Intel, because people were like coming to me all the time. As a matter of fact, I even lost some people on my list. I'm just telling you this, okay? Some even they abandoned my chat room. Some even they left. Basically, they just blocked me up. And the reason why, because they couldn't get nothing new. Like I said, people are addicted to my Intel. And I hated the fact that people were. And even like that, they're not listening. So therefore, that's fine. If you don't like me, that's fine. I'm not pushing you. I don't need your approval. But then again, I know how offended at least one person. And the reason why I offended, because I told her specifically, when I called her, here's your number. Please do not share this to anybody. Don't share this number to anybody. Don't even send me texts, send me private messages thanking me on Facebook, either on my chat room or either privately. Don't send me any text. I even told her that. Guess what she did? She did exactly what I told her not to do it. So I got really mad and I blocked her. I mean, you need to understand why I did that. And I blocked her because she's a very sweet lady. Every single day, and I'm making this up. Every single day, she wake up in the morning and she give me a blessing. And I had to block her because it was either that or me just getting everything off. I even called her back and I told her, please create another account, change your name, and just ask for a petition of friends, and I will get you back. But please do not send me any messages, because she will bring the same stuff again. So before that, I told everybody. I talked privately to other people. I'm not going to mention their name because I'm respecting their privacy. I'm respecting everybody, their privacy. So that's why I'm not mentioning any name. And I talked to this guy, which I know him. He's a very smart guy. Let's look for a way to find a software so we can all meet. And it's encrypted. And nobody will interview us when I give you my Intel. Because people were asking for my Intel. You need to understand this. And I was not allowed to say anything. I publicly say I'm not going to give my Intel. I will never give my breaking Intel again. Because I want this over. I want this thing to be over. So, we were doing good. We were spreading that, word to mouth. The software. All of a sudden, one of my friends in the list said, okay, so I downloaded the software, now what? She screwed it up completely. Everybody was like, oh my God. But this is the first step that everybody does, because we assume that Facebook is a private environment. We assume that it's safety, that nobody will see you. And people, for some reason, they don't get it. We don't have no privacy. We don't. I want you to wake up. We've been monitored every single day. What we said, what we do, even what we buy, believe it or not. You don't believe me? Let me just tell you how. Try to buy anything. I don't care what it is. Last time, I bought an adapter. Okay? Just a little adapter. Has nothing to do with gadgets. Nothing like that. It was just an adapter. That it was, for me, hard to get. The adapters, I supposed to use the adapter in electronic. For some device that is very old. It's no longer around. So I bought it. And the minute that I bought it, I log off from my computer. The next day, using Chrome, I keep seeing the same stupid adapter. And I keep seeing a lot of adapters around. From where? From Google. Why? Because Google monitor what you buy. Google monitor everything you search, everything you're looking for, and it's bringing it up to you because they want you to buy, to spend. That's how Google violates your privacy. And by the way, let me just tell you this. I'm giving you your first breaking intel. After the RB happens, Google and every single search engine will stop doing that. You hear me right? And you're going to hear it here first, before anybody else. Will stop doing that because it is the end of the cabal. And I'm going to tell you in detail what happened, why we didn't have the RB back in April. Why all this pressure were doing to me, and now finally I'm off the change. Why I was the asshole, and why they were putting pressure on me. I'm going to tell you why. So, back on the people that I offended. I publicly want to apologize to each and every one of you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I didn't mean to block you. But I was pushed. I just have to do whatever it takes to just get it over with and go on. So you know who you are, and because I respecting your privacy, I'm not going to mention your name. After the show, I will make sure that you receive my private message. Let you know that I'm sorry. Okay. So let's go to the news right now. And I'm going to tell you why every single stuff that we are been receiving has to do with what I got today. So let me go to the news. Oh, I just passed it. Here is the most important news so far up to this day. It is this one, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna post it on Facebook. It said the Central Trade calls to scrap companies to mediate, to sell and buy the dollar, and not to promote transactions. I have continually telling you that we need to listen to the banks. We need to listen to every single banking or financial information from Iraq. And what they're doing is that they're getting rid of the obstacles before we RB. And you may not feel it or seeing anything right now because you're not living in Iraq. But I'm telling you, I can assure you that the people in Iraq, they see the difference. They might see the same thing, corruption, because there's still corruption. But they see the difference when they go to the bank. They see the difference when they get their currency being traded or exchanged. Because right now, as I am speaking, people are returning the dollar. I repeat, people are returning their dollar because they know exactly that the revaluation will happen at any time. It is very close. Everybody knows that. So as they returning the dollar will decrease in price. We can notice it just by looking at the dollar index. We notice it just by looking at the news how their purchasing power has increased and the dollar has decreased. Their power of purchases have going up so bad that the prices of their goods and services have lowered tremendously. We have reported this all the time. So we know for a fact, and I know for a fact because I had the contact with people in Iraq, bankers in Iraq. They all were in the meeting. And they told me that all the people in Iraq, they already know the revaluation of their currency will happen very soon. So what we know right now, it is that everything is getting synchronized, and I'm going to let you know why. I will give you a hint because I cannot. They told me straight up, Ben, this is what happened to you. You were giving too much information and you were interrupting this, and I'm gonna tell you why they were doing this. So here you go. Oh, by the way, I just told you about the news that the Central Trade calls to scrap companies to mediate and sell and buy the dollar. But there's also another news. The IMF is pushing for Iraq to just finish the economic reform. So now we have another news for another bank, one of the main banks, doing that. And also, I was told that BRICS will come out and also request to Iraq to finish their economic reform. And I'm going to tell you why they want to do that too. Why they're interested in Iraq revaluing. There are some pros and cons, and this is your intel. There are some pros and cons by going off the chain. Okay? There are some pros and cons. Pay attention. The pros are that you will be free from banks, from your debt, from many things that attach you to not go on with your life the way you're supposed to go out with your life. Even for those people who live in the United States, you're not going to be trapped in a prison because of your debt. Because what you owe. We know that now even bankruptcy is very tough because they changed it. Who changed it? George Bush, son, the idiot. So before that, they didn't feel that much pressure to continue being in debt. They will probably just go bankrupt and owe nothing. Now, under the new laws of bankruptcy, it is tougher because you basically can get rid of many of the debt that you need to pay. Now, there's some good and some bad about that, because we need to be responsible on the debt that we own. We need to actually take responsibility in the decisions that we take. But most of the people who are in debt, they have been pressured by the agenda and the situation and the system to get on debt, because they're pressuring us that either that if we don't have credit or any credit history, you can't buy a house, you can't buy a car, you can't buy things that you know for a fact you don't have the whole money to buy it. So you have to go inside that system, get a loan, get qualified, and permanent, and I'm not joking about this, permanent being a debt. So the system was designed for you to be a slave, and for me to be a slave, and for all of you who are listening to be a slave. That's how the system was made. And how do you know you're going to be over the cabal? You're going to be over the cabal when you see that you no longer have to get off on a debt in order to buy a house, in order to buy a car, in order to enjoy life free of any debt that you may want to get in, that you may have. Many people have described that forgiveness of debt internationally and locally, but no one has ever described you the way they want to implement it. And I'm going to tell you how they're going to want to implement it. They will start this implementation of forgiveness of debt locally, meaning every state, nationally, meaning federal, and internationally, meaning the new banks, IMF, World Bank, and the BRICS. So when you see this attachment of this system, when you see these changes around you, you will feel more free and you will feel more happier, because you no longer have to worry about paying something that you just were forced to be. You were forced one way or another, because there was no other way to get your stuff going, your life going, unless you get in debt. So the system is corrupted, and it will be corrupted until the RB happens. And when that change, you will see the big changes are coming. Big changes are coming in our country and in the world. I mentioned it back in April, the massive changes they were planning to do. And now it's a confirmation they are coming. These are changes that will affect you directly, whether you believe it or not. I'm not going to tell you the details how they want to come out with, because this is information that I cannot share. Part of our agreement was that I can only incite the conversation between my followers, and that's it. Not giving them no private information or nothing, because it is a crucial system that is about to collapse, and it's a crucial activation of a new system that is about to be implemented. We just had news that Donald Trump had a meeting with Putin, and they discussed, according to the news, what happened in North Korea and Syria, and they're getting to an agreement that they need to do something about it. Now, there's a pros and cons of what they agree with. I'm going to repeat it again. there's a pros and cons of what they agree with. That agreement, although it looked like, according to the news, looked like nothing to be concerned about the RB, that's what they want you to know. And I keep saying it, that the news will only tell you what they want you to know, not what you need to know. Okay? So, what they agree with? They agree that the dollar is about to collapse. And when I say collapse, meaning it will get out from the 90s range and go back to the 80s range, back when Ronald Reagan was our president, back where our economy was free to trade, to do business outside and inside the country. Because in order for our economy to be healthy, we need to have it between 80 to 85. So they agree now that they're going to take out the chains of slavery. Probably that we as a country, we as the United States, we have been putting the whole world under dictatorship of corruption and control of the elites. We as the United States. I mentioned before that there's some pros and cons about it. Let me just tell you what the pros are. We're going to be able to get rid of debt one way or another after they implement the new system. That's one pro. The second system is we'll be able to do business with no worries outside the country and inside our country. That's another pro. We all be able to do our currency, our money, the way we wanted to do with no boundaries. Now that has a pro and a con, but I don't want to disturb the attention. Just listen to me. And I'm going to just mention some couple of cons that will take in place once the cabal is no longer in power. The number one cons is that all those countries that were destroyed economically, physically, all those countries, one day they will all get together and they're going to fight against us. Because there hasn't been no government apologizing to them for the injustice and the corrupt that they actually did. Donald Trump knows that. That is the reason why Donald Trump has not attacked North Korea. And the reason is because he's trying his best to politically come to an agreement with China. And this agreement will last probably 20 or 30 years. It will be a temporary agreement with North Korea, because this is the situation of this president in North Korea. This is another intel. This young man, because he's young, he's about 27, I believe, not even 30, has come to the conclusion that, according to his teaching from his father and his grandfather, we as a nation, as the United States, have propagated violence, injustice, the American way. Remember those guys? Did they tell you, we're going to do the American way? Well, the American way will return us back. And it will return us back by creating enemies, new enemies that will hate us in years to come. Because what we did in our past. Karma will take possession. It will take also place against us. So when we become rich, after exchange, we will have to face this whether we like it or not. So the cabal knows about this. And the new elite knows about this. And now in years to come, after we exchange, you will see not only Donald Trump in the next 8 years, but you will see many other presidents do the same thing that Donald Trump will do. And what exactly is that? The United States of America will start promoting peace on earth. And the reason why they're doing it is because they know a lot of people hate us, with a lot of reasons. And it probably will come out a public international announcement to ask for forgiveness. Because that's exactly what we earn, people. We earn a lot of enemies. Because we wanted to implement our justice, our American justice, over them. Now, you may disagree with me or not, but this is the information they gave me. So, those are the cons when we became free of them. And when I mean free of them means the cabal. And when we exchange, which is going to be very, very soon, it will be implemented by surprise. Remember I told you that the surprise factor was very important? Well, there you go. The surprise factor is so important that they're going to implement it. It's a done deal. But before we go through the RB, before we get the RB, there will be a lot of confusion. You will see a lot of bad news. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. You're going to see some bad news. And don't even be surprised that they announce that they don't have no intentions of revaluing. Don't be surprised. Okay? Don't be surprised that they will tell you, we consider that it's not the right time to revalue. They will do it. Okay? And when that happens, when panic and chaos comes out, and a lot of you, even though I said it on May the 3rd, 2017, on my radio show that I've been listening for a lot of people, they will come to me with the same stupid question. What happened? So that's it? Because you people don't remember this stuff. You only want to focus on the things that you like to be listening and not the things that you don't like to listen. I will not answer your questions. I repeat, if you come up to me with the same question that I just telling you right now, what they are planning to do, I will not answer your question. You need to pay attention. The collapse of the corrupt system will happen. And before we exchange, we need to go through these steps. We need to go to confusion. We need to go to chaos. And we need to go through panic. That's part of the deal. It is official. So in days to come, you're going to hear more bad news. And you're going to hear even, probably, an announcement of Iraq saying, we're not interested in raising the value right now. I'm telling you straight out how it's going to happen. If they don't, that's fine. I don't care. But there will be a lot of confusion and chaos. And we are very close. Okay? Just let me just tell you that. We are very, very close. So, why that revaluation did not happen in April? Because the government, the corrupt government of Iraq, hate us. I just mentioned you minutes ago of the cons of being liberated by the cabal. Iraq and the people in Iraq, most of them, they hate us because we bombarded their country. We killed over 1 million people over all the wars, coming from the Gulf War all the way to getting the idiot from Kuwait, all the way when we invade Iraq. They remember, because they are human beings just like you and me. They hate us because of that. They don't appreciate you as an American, that they were delivered by a maniac. They don't see it that way. They only see a big government, superpower, killing up and destroy and violate, that's the word, violate their sovereignty as an independent country. They hate the thought that you and me are going to become rich on the cost of their own currency. Just imagine, just try to be in their shoes. Try to be in their shoes. How would you feel if Iraq would come up to you and destroy your country, kill your parents, kill your kids, and then after that profit out of a revaluation of the dollar? How will you feel about it? That is the reason why there was no RB in April. And that will continue to be the reason why they keep delaying it. But they cannot delay it any more longer. I'm telling you right now. They cannot delay any more longer. If they do, they will have to face the new elite. Because in order for the new financial system to take place, and in order for the new elite to take place, the new power take place in the world, there are things that need to be done. And one of the things that needs to be done is to destroy the dollar and increase the value of the dinar, so all the countries behind them do the same thing. So you need to understand what's going on right now, because a long time ago I said it that when this revaluation happen and we exchange, we're gonna find out the real truth behind why they keep delaying it. And you're not gonna like it. This is your first proof of why you're not liking it right now. So what our government, our corrupt governments did to Iraq, we got nothing to do with it. Because ultimately they will do what they think it is important to do. They got their own agenda. It's not necessarily the American people's agenda. It is not. Because if they will come out with a special vote from all the people, asking the people, can we invade Iraq and get rid of this guy? I can assure you that 90% of the people will vote no. We don't want war. So that is about to change. You need to understand what is the system you're living with. Because this is not just for you and me to get rich. No. This is about changing the real face and the perception. And also is to change your reality. I spoke about it before. Your reality is about to change. And when that change, everything around you will change. You will see a lot of things around you. You're not going to see these stupid houses of... I'm telling you, I'm just letting you know right now. You're not going to see these stupid houses. One of the little things that you're not going to see is those places, those stores that offer you to give you cash advance. Trust me, they will be gone after this. Goodbye to cash advances, okay? You'll see all that. Because banks are no longer will have a hold of your future, your present, your future, and certainly your past will be gone. Because your debt will be forgiven. Massive changes are coming. And I'm so happy to announce that my change are off. Now I will give you breaking intel just like I did today. Openly, we don't fear. Whether they like it or not. That was part of my agreement with them. For now, thank you so much for your attention. And I'll see you next time in another edition of the Fake News Show. Goodbye now.
Thank you for listening to the Fake News Show with Benny. See you next time for more conspiracy news, current events, and intel from the most controversial show from Montserrat Radio.